What's up? Nick Hilton here, and in this video, I am discussing my 3 favorite lenses for wedding photography. Now, I would say this is my 3 favorite lenses for 2023, but only one of these lenses is somewhat new, and the rest of them I've been using for a while, and I probably see myself using these same 3 lenses, or focal lengths at least, for quite a while. So, first off, let's grab one that many people are familiar with. This is the Canon EF 70-200 2.8. I think this is like the Mark II, this is the second one. The 70-200 I used to use a lot more than I do now. Now I use it for the ceremony, for pieces of the ceremony, and I use it for portraits a lot. The reason I use it for ceremonies is because I like to be able to zoom in close and get like close-ups on facial expressions, kind of Hollywood movie style, where like I'm shooting over the shoulder of one person and getting the face of the other person and then the opposite. So that way when I'm delivering albums or slideshows, like I have both angles and they're nice and close. I use it during portraits when I really want to separate the background, when I really want to like isolate the couple and really blur out what's behind them. I like to do this if there's trees or bushes or anything in the background that I more just want like the blurry color instead of actually being able to see what's behind them. This works really well if there's things that are less than attractive in the background. And yeah, so that's the 70-200. The next one is also pretty common amongst wedding photographers. This is a 35mm 1.4. This is not the Mark II. This is not an RF lens. This is an EF. You can probably get this on eBay for like $500. And I would say probably about 60% of the day, this lens is on my camera. Whenever I'm doing getting ready, I mostly use this lens. When I'm shooting portraits and the ceremony and I don't have the 70-200 on my camera, then I'm using this one. It's just wide enough to where I can generally fit a lot of information in the image. I can storytell with it pretty well, but it's not so wide that it starts, distorting people's faces. So I can use it for portraits as long as I, center people in the frame. And it's also 1.4, so you can get a very flattering, like shallow depth of field. And it's overall just a really nice lens. And like I said, 35mm is a preferred focal length by a lot of wedding photographers. Now, the next lens that I'm going to show you, there's probably not a lot of wedding photographers who use this lens. The focal length is like not too crazy, but this lens in particular is this one. It's this cheap 20mm 2.8 by Canon. This was made in like 1990. I bought it last year for around $300. Again, it's a fixed lens at 20mm. It's much wider than the 35, not quite as wide as like this 14mm lens that I have. This one is all, like fishbowled. And what actually made me get this 20mm lens when I have a 14 is the 14 it doesn't allow you to put a filter on it. And as someone who does video and photo, I wanted to be able to put ND filters on when I'm shooting video. So I got this 20 because it was a lot cheaper than buying, a new 16-35. And let me just tell you, I am increasingly using this more and more and more compared to the 35. Yes, there are times where this is much too wide. It's very rare that this will come out during a portrait session, but I would say 90% of the reception I shoot on this, and about half of getting ready, I'll swap back and forth between, the 35 and the 20mm, because you can really, immerse yourself into the moment. Like you can get really close with this and get really cool viewpoints, but then, during the reception and open dancing and everything, the closer you get and the wider you shoot, the more those dance photos and those reception photos really come to life, because you almost get that feeling that people are around you. They're surrounding you as the photographer. So as the viewer, you feel like you're immersed in the situation. Whereas like if you were shooting dance photos with an 85mm it feels like you're watching across the room. Like, you ever seen a movie when it's like kind of a thriller and you feel like someone's being watched? Well, if I'm shooting really far back for like reception, dancing, and stuff like that, that's what I feel like. I feel like the creeper in the corner, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want people looking at the images to feel like they're the creeper in the corner. So the 20 millimeter lens, it's been awesome. All right, those are my top 3 lenses. I think you should really give something like a 20 a try. All right, we'll see you in the next video.